Day night. This is the Pandemic Proof Singer Series. I'm your host, Danielle Tucker. I'm a singer, vocal coach, and a singer with the Mighty Untouchables band. I was the recent host and producer of the Pandemic Proof Singer Summit, and we have Summit 2.0 coming up in May. If you're interested in that, you can go to thesingersummit.com and get on our waiting list. The Pandemic Proof Singer Series, it is an interview series for singers, about singers. It's about us kind of moving forward in the midst of a pandemic and an industry shutdown. We're about community, lifting one another up. It's about inspiring each other and just talking about doing hard things. And with that said, I want to introduce my awesome guest tonight. He's someone that I admire greatly. He is Leonard Patton. He is an iconic staple singer in the San Diego music community. He has recorded loads and loads of albums with countless brilliant musicians. He's very well known for he and his band's Guinness World Record for 70 performances within 24 hours. So when the pandemic came along, when we first talked in July, he was in the midst of 2 album releases. And it just doesn't seem that this pandemic has really slowed him down much. So I'm really excited to bring him on, talk to him tonight about all the cool projects he's involved with now. And we're going to highlight the Jazz Lounge tonight, too. Here he is, Mr. Leonard Patton. How are you?
What's happening?
How's it going?
Just chilling.
Yep.
Just
we said
chilling.
Beforehand, we're just riffing tonight. So we're not on any real agenda. So.
That's right. We don't need no stinking agenda. We do what we want to do. We go how we want to go. Okay? Yeah.
So you and I talked, we talked in July, we caught up in October. What's been happening with you lately? What are you involved with right now?
What am I? Well, I got some gigs here and there, doing some gigging.
Yeah, looks like it.
So that's kind of nice, playing in front of people, actually.
Yes.
And that's fun. Just trying to catch up to things. I end of last year into the beginning of this year got behind on some stuff, so trying to play catch up but a lot of it too was I got behind on things, and then I've been getting all these projects for people, like paying projects, but getting that I'm doing from my house, like recording stuff and charts and all this stuff. So then I'm doing all that and then getting behind on other stuff, but it's cool because I'm just getting some work. So doing that and doing live streaming and all of that stuff. So that's kind of the general thing.
Yeah. You always look like you're so busy to me. And I'm curious to know, it seems like there's this big divide between musicians and singers that I see nowadays. There's some of us that just feel like nothing's coming back, nothing's going on, there's no opportunities, nothing's happening. But then there's the other side of the spectrum with, people like you who you've been busy the entire time. I mean, it seems
it seems like it, but first couple months, I was, I was actually enjoying kind of the downtime, because I think a lot of us needed a break.
Yeah.
Not that, when we take a break, we want it to be in our terms.
Right. Not an 11-month break.
But the problem is a lot of us don't usually take breaks, which is, I think, and this is something that I was thinking about before the pandemic is, blocking out time out of my schedule ahead of time to rejuvenate, to break, whether it's, one day every couple of weeks, whether it's 3 days every month, whether it's every 3 months, you take 5 days, whatever, just taking that time. I think that we get scared sometimes when we don't take the work, and we're afraid to block out time.
They'll never call you again.
Yeah, and that's not the case. It's so I think with this whole pandemic, I've been busier lately. You know, first 2 months I had that downtime, but I still have pockets of time, and I want that to be the normal thing moving forward. Even as more things come about, you know, I want to do more protecting my schedule so I can, you know, have family time, so I can, you know, do just or do nothing time.
Yeah.
So,
what's that done for you, having extra time?
Well, you know, it's so funny. I see all these posts about. I saw this one post. I don't know if you know Danny Weller. He lives in New York, and he says a post. Oh, so you know he's an amazing bass player. It's like, oh, so I guess all these musicians have been practicing during the pandemic, which is not necessarily the case. I know there's some have. I actually know more musicians who've been playing, like practicing other instruments beside their own instrument during the pandemic, doing new things, and which is a cool thing. So, you know, I in some ways I feel like I've wasted some of my downtime not doing as much or not doing things I want to do or should do. But then, you know, who's to dictate that? It is what it is. You know, I mean, there's no shame. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. You do what you do. If you do nothing or if you do something different, that's what it's supposed to be. So I've been trying to do more planning for things that I'm doing later on in the year. Yeah. Trying to, you know, I guess not as much practicing as much as doing more of just like home recording and doing a bunch of that stuff. So yeah, it's I've been productive. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I could have done this. I could do this. It is what it is. We can't. Yeah. There's no shame. There's no regrets.
Yeah. There's not, and I think I think you and I are a lot alike. We really, really busy people, and when it does come to downtime, well, maybe you're not like this. I really struggle with it because I get that, like, just, I don't know, anxiety of like, all right, well, I'm going to sit down and like watch TV, which is not something that I do very often. And I just, you know, it almost kind of sends me into a tailspin sometimes. So, but throughout all of this, after, you know, 11 months of a like drastically reduced schedule, I'm getting a little more comfortable with it, which is good. Yeah. You know, and it definitely makes up for some good like family time and everything. But, if anything, I think maybe I've chilled out a little bit. We'll see. We'll see when things start picking up again.
I know. I don't think we know how we are or how we're going to be. I don't think we know yet.
No, we don't. Yeah. It looks like you've had a couple of live in-person gigs. What are you seeing? What are you seeing coming back?
What the future, or like more like
kind of like currently? What are you seeing happening?
So doing most of the live stuff, I've been doing some like outside restaurants that are doing that have open patios and places like that. I'm doing this cabaret concert show for the California Center of the Arts. A couple friends who have a theater company that we're doing stuff in Temecula, but now they're kind of the main producers for pretty much all the stuff at California Center of the Arts. And so the date is March 21st, and they put out their little season of what they're going to do, and it's all outside, and it's sold out, and all of them sold out in 4 hours.
I bet.
Like in a matter of, and so what's happening now, and especially as we're moving towards spring, I think there's a heavy anticipation with people wanting to do things. Yeah. And so So I think things are slowly opening up. I see different people doing different things, different concerts outside, drive-in concerts, and I think places are slowly opening up. I think what's happening is there's certain places that may have closed down from before,
Yeah.
but there's new places that are offering things. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, it's kind of cool. I think you're going to see a lot more things happening, and think about this. So I talk about this. I sing this song. You must believe in spring. Have you ever sung that song?
No.
So what a beautiful song by Michel Legrand. And so I've done this song a couple times this year, and it's something I've recently been thinking about. So COVID happened last year. Well, it happened before March, but as far as shutdown impacting our lives, it was right around March 21st of last
Yeah.
year. What is March 21st? The first day of spring.
Mm.
We lost spring. We
Yeah.
didn't lose the season of spring, but we lost spring. Everything we look forward to in spring for schools is spring break. For a lot of people, there's new opportunities, newness. It's the flowers blooming. It's the newness of life. Spring is like hope. And then our spring springs us in the summer. And usually, that it's just kind of the momentum pushes us through all the way to summer. Well, we didn't. It's probably the first year ever that we didn't experience a spring, like nobody did. There was nothing you could do, nowhere you can go. Everybody's plans that they usually have in spring got canceled. And so, this song talks about you must believe in spring and love, and everything that we've hoped for last year that got lost, and maybe we have our doubts about whatever. I think this spring, I'm not saying it's going to be like spring of 2019 or things before, but I think that you're going to see a lot of things that are like, okay, yeah, there's still hope in what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how small or big it is, I think that's what you're going to see this spring. And I think we have a lot to look forward to. I really do.
Yeah. I totally agree. And I feel that in the air too, for sure. I mean, things are like, it's so painfully slow, but I feel the optimism is far, far greater than it was even just, a month ago. I mean, our schedule has been just a constant moving target. We
Yeah.
consistently had things on the schedule, but the closer they approach, every day we get a call, oh, we're going to have to cancel. And, but it seems like a few of them are holding. We're actually doing a wedding this weekend, which
That's awesome.
we're all really excited
Is
about.
that the full band?
Yeah, the whole band.
Yeah.
It'll be really
Isn't that funny? So like, it used to be our schedules were 99.9% locked in. There's always something that can get canceled. We know life is life. But so when we get called for something else, you look at your calendar. No, I'm busy. Now it's like, I've got this pending thing on my calendar that may get moved, but I don't want to I don't want to cancel it for your thing that might be pending. Like it's really hard with our schedules. It's really hard to pin things down. It's like, I don't know what's this thing is 75% sure. This thing is 60% sure. What do I put in?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a whole different thing. And then also too, I'm sure you've had canceled things or things that are postponed to later dates.
Mm-hmm.
So with my group LP and the Vinyl with Danny Green and Justin Grinnell and Julian Cantelm, we had a bunch of out of town dates that were canceled or postponed. We had a CD release in April, of course, pandemic started, and in Chandler, Arizona, and that got postponed twice. So we have all this stuff that's postponed to like the end of this year and all of next year. So next year is actually going to be kind of busy, maybe possibly, but yeah, it's kind of crazy how we deal with our schedules now as opposed to from before. Mm-hmm. What's up, Derek Cannon? Wayne Riker, what's up? What's up?
Hey guys. Thanks for joining us. That's such a good point, because it seems like for at least the last decade of life, my schedule was dictated by the gig schedule. It's like that was kind of what determined what could and could not happen. I know, not everybody is like this, but I just, during the summer, I didn't plan summer vacations in advance because I just never knew, a vacation would happen in, with 2 weeks notice if I happen to be off, for a weekend. And now
big money gigs come in the summer. You don't, yeah.
Yeah, they can fall into place at the last minute. But yeah, it'll really be interesting to see how we kind of handle that, going forward.
And now we have you look at May and you have one thing in the middle of May, like in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, you got to set a reminder, because I got to remind myself that I have a gig in the middle of May.
Right.
Where before, it's like, you had multiple things going on. Now it's just like one little thing in the third week of May. And if I don't set a reminder, I might forget that I even have that gig.
I know. It's so funny. And the prep for it too is totally a different thing now. Yeah. I'm finding, because it seemed like, being busy and, playing out all the time and, doing your thing regularly, to pick up a song or two, just, when you're in the flow, it just doesn't take you that long. You kind of have your system down and your mind is just programmed and wired to work that way. But now I find if I know I have something coming up in 2 weeks, I'm like putting it on the schedule, like, okay, you gotta start practicing that. You gotta start listening to that, because my little bean up here isn't functioning the way it was last year.
Like, I used to know songs. Now we don't know songs anymore, right?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yep. I know too. Yeah. And speaking of songs too, it's like, it always felt like spring and summer is what, well, at least in the cover music, realm of things.
Yeah.
That's kind of always what dictated to, what was popular and what everybody was getting excited about, what everybody was learning and everything. And now I don't even know what.
Yeah. You guys are gonna have to catch up to what's going on, man.
You're gonna have to put a whole new show together.
Yeah, because you can't be playing. I mean, you can play some of the old stuff, but you can't just play all the old stuff. It's like, come on, that's so 2018. What are you playing?
It's like Uptown Funk is like a classic at this point. That is
oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So what do you have going on as far as projects right now that you're working on?
So I got this space that I'm using for live streaming. It's called the Jazz Lounge, or the Lounge. You call it the Lounge or the Jazz Lounge, or LP's Lounge or LP's Jazz Lounge. It doesn't matter, whatever you want to call it. And I've done some live streaming stuff here and there, but I'm still in the process of making it what I want it to be. Ultimately, when things open up, it'll be both a live streaming and a live place, like a nice intimate place. Ooh. And so, yeah, that's kind of what's going. In fact, tomorrow I got a live stream to Palomar College's concert hour. So Ed Kornhauser and I are live streaming from here for their noon concert series. Yeah.
Is this like a commercial space or your home studio?
It's a commercial space. So it's great. It's off of El Cajon Boulevard near La Mesa. And it's funny thing is, I got it after the pandemic started. A friend of mine, we had talked about it for over a year. She said, I have a tenant that's, I'm going to be gone by sometime this year. And so talked about me taking it and doing something with it.
Mhm.
Well, she sends me a message in April, and I had to think about it. It's like, okay, we just started a pandemic. What's the how wise? But then I'm like, you know what? It's gonna be a streaming space, and down the road when things open up, I can do live things live with people. And so I took it on. I've done some live stream concerts here, and I've also working with Center for World Music. We've done a couple of their projects, virtual projects. I've had somebody pretty much just take the space, rent the space for their own thing. So it's starting to, kind of happen more frequently, and it's very cool. I got my fiber internet here,
I was
so
going to ask if
yeah, got that
came
fiber.
through.
That fiber, yeah, it's all about that fiber. That
All about
fiber.
the fiber.
Now that's a fiber. That's a
That's
yeah.
great. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to be at an advantage maybe, I don't know, maybe by next year, because not only will, of course, live music is going to come back, and I think it's going to come back in a pretty insane way,
Wrong.
eventually.
It's gonna come back real strong.
People are going to be, they're going to be nuts. They're going to be
Yeah.
crazy hungry to throw parties and have events and go out and do all the things. But at the same time, too, now everybody's learned how to live stream. Everybody's learned how to record out of their home. So you've kind of got so many more options now, you
can't get rid. I think you have to embrace and do both. You can't just go back to, okay, I'm just gonna do live. I think it needs to be, in fact, I think venues need to do both. When they do live concerts, they need to, the Lincoln Center, and there's certain places that have been doing that for years.
Mm-hmm.
I watch Lincoln Center concerts. I've been watching their concerts for a number of years. So I think, I think it's the thing that people have to embrace and maximize your reach. It's not just your circle of people that locally, but maximize your reach.
Yeah, absolutely. And think of the benefit for just society in general. These are, you have places, like you said, that are streaming, and there are people in our, in our nation who would never have the opportunity to go and see, an event like something like that. But now, of course, nothing takes the place of actually being somewhere like that live, but still, to be able to experience it one way or another, it just really expands what's available to us.
Yeah.
Great opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's going to drastically change the music industry again, too. I think that just the internet in general, obviously, kind of revolutionized the way that the music industry works. And I think just this pandemic alone is a huge game changer, too.
I think some people have figured some things out, too. What the pandemic has done is kind of put everybody on an even plane.
Yeah.
Like there's because the famous people aren't touring, aren't doing anything. So it's like an even plane, and it's kind of given some opportunities for people to do certain things. And I think that I think there's more to do while we're in this place, and there's things to do as we're transitioning back into the norm. I think now's the time to take advantage of where we're at. We're at a good place where we're still, if you call it a good place, where we're still in the pandemic, but yet we can kind of have a glimpse of the future of what things are going to be. So, there's things that we can do now to not just further ourselves or our own careers, but really, I think, kind of unify in the scene. I think collectively, we can be kind of this force in our community as far as, the arts and music and theater too. And yeah.
Yeah, that's totally true. Talking about kind of evening the playing field. Um, Something that I've thought a lot about, especially recently, is like I'm always asking the question, like how have you changed? How are you forever changed by what has happened? And I really can't even articulate an answer for myself. I'm still thinking about it. I can, mention a few things that I know I've definitely learned, but I haven't kind of made sense of the whole picture yet. But I think the biggest standout to me is just what a humbling experience the whole thing has been,
Mhm.
especially, I guess, maybe just being this far in my career, knowing how long it took to build to where I got to, and it's not easy to make a living as a musician to begin with,
Yeah.
and so to make it even harder, but just to find yourself in a space one day where like uh you know you're so out of control of what the circumstances are around you, no matter how hard a worker you are, no matter how committed to your craft you are, you're just kind of in this space, but then there's this odd comfort because everybody else is in the same boat as you are.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really kind of feel like just the whole experience of feeling this, I don't know if it's humbleness or I don't know. It's given me a new sense of community and the way I want to be connected to people, and just really the way I look at the people around me in general. It's
Mhm.
I think really that's one of the biggest changes that's happened in my life. You know.
Yeah, and also too, like, what do you like as we're telling people who are looking to do this thing,
Mhm.
it's like we have to find ways to keep motivating them. We can't be negative. We can't say, well, look, uh, good luck, with all that's going on. We can't. I mean, I think most of us have always been real, like as someone who teaches and educates. It's like, hey, you want to do this. This is not all glam. There's a small percentage that are making like really good money. So all the people you see on TV or you hear on the radio, that's a small percentage. I mean, most people are, working hard, 7 days a week to, you know, pay their rent and pay their bills. And so I think we've always balanced things with, hey, just understand it's, you got to work hard. You work hard, pay your dues, work hard, work hard. Now it's like, you know, how do you motivate that 14-year-old, 16-year-old, 18-year-old? It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we still have to, I think now, um, I think before people can be we can be a little more real as far as what this business is. I think now you have to kind of, we have to lift it up. We have to add that hope in there. Like, don't give up. It's a different time. I would never want to discourage somebody, regardless of their talent level, like to give up during this time.
Yeah.
I think even more now, I think we have to encourage people to keep going because history tells us that every pandemic, every war, through everything that we've gone through, there's always been a renaissance, and all things have always gotten better afterwards.
Mhm.
That's historically true. And
Yeah.
I'm speaking of this country, but that you can say that with anywhere.
Mhm.
So, um, it's like it's hard to know what to say, but then it's like, you know what, keep going. Just do what you're doing now. And when the time is right, those opportunities will come for you. When they come for you, jump at them and don't run away, but encouraging them to work hard now so that when those opportunities come, they'll be ready.
Yeah. You're so right. We are just around the corner. We're just around the corner, from great things. And I know it's hard to know, how to encourage, younger people getting into this business now, because I think the way we came in and the way we built things, that's gone. That's
Yeah.
it's just not gonna be the same route. But at the same time, I think there's so much more opportunity available now because of everything that's available on the internet now. And like you said,
Yeah.
it's such a more even playing field now. And I don't know, if I had to say, I think the biggest way that we can encourage people just coming into the business is to show them with our own actions that,
Mhm.
being people who already had established careers, having to take such a, drastic pivot, that, if we're able to do it,
Yeah.
then, the sky's the limit for them, especially having just young, fresh minds and bodies and
Exactly. I wish, the thing that I wish for them is like, hey, they haven't had the opportunity to go see live music, this past year, but it's like encouraging the, hey, when you can go watch as many live stream performances as you can, because there's a lot of good ones, and just learn until you can get out there again. Yeah, it's because I always tell people, like, one of the best ways we can learn, besides our practice and spending time in the sheds, is going to see live performances. And I tell people, it's like, look, you go see live music. Okay, if you go see a singer you love or a guitarist you love, talk to them, ask them questions, hang out, find out where they're playing, and go follow them around. And they can't really follow them around, but you can follow them around.
Yeah.
Virtually now, you can. So follow them and support and learn and learn from what we've experienced before and what we've experienced this past year. Take that with you and become even better. Become a better musician, be better prepared to handle whatever comes. That's really what it's about.
Yeah, it really is.
What's up, Tim Moore?
What's that?
I was saying, what's up, Tim Moore?
Hey, Tim, speaking of Tim, and, online opportunities, Tim hosts a weekly cabaret show online.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I know a lot of locals are involved in that. And so, Tim, feel free to drop a link in the chat if you'd like to. Hey,
Santino,
what's happening? Yeah. I was going to add too to that it's an opportunity for them, but I think it's also an opportunity for us too, because, we have this younger generation coming up that is, so well equipped in technology and so fluent in those things. And it's a great opportunity for us to open up and, be willing to learn from them and just, kind of explore that different side of life instead of, I think it's very easy to get to a certain point in your career and just feel like, maybe you know enough, you've learned enough, and you're good. You're good where you're at, you're happy and satisfied. But I think if we can kind of lay that down and be willing to move into new spaces and everything, that'll be the thing that'll kind of keep us going and keep us happy ultimately. So it probably is a very great opportunity for us.
Yeah. And I think too that, I look for the opportunity to play with all my friends again. It's like I've, in this past year, post February of last year, I've played with, a small amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, it doesn't seem right. Like, I just want to get in a room or get on a stage and just play with all these people again.
Yeah, I know. We need to have like a big, gigantic music fest in San Diego or
Oh,
LA.
there's gonna be some stuff. It's going to be. Yeah, I can't even imagine.
It'll be so fun to see everybody again. Tim is saying he plugs us both every chance he gets. Thank you so much for that.
Yay.
You're awesome. Appreciate that. Hey, so during all of this, have you gotten into anything new, kind of like project wise, or even music that you never would have expected you would find interest in, or maybe like rediscovered some music, or just even other hobbies in general?
Well, I mean, I'm always just rediscovering new music or things that I didn't forgot about or didn't listen to much.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of always a part of what I do. But I'm trying to well, for one thing, I'm working on a musical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a new. This has been an ongoing kind of thing for the past 8 years or so. But I'm working on it. I'm trying to get it done and finished sometime this year. So that's kind of one of my projects. As far as other new things, it's not too many. I can't think of. I mean, new would be just dabbling in different instruments, and I think most of us have, to some extent, have been doing that or try to do that. Just trying to look around different musical corners that I've never really looked around, and just trying to peek in different directions, and trying to see what the next project's going to be, and that's really where I'm at as far as that. I'm a lot of actually what I've been doing is kind of really into the technology of things, and kind of like, for instance, like, there's all these different ways you can stream. People stream to Facebook, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. By the way, I approve of StreamYard over the Zoom.
Yes, I know, I love it.
Amazing. I approve of that. But just different ways to stream, just like, I've been streaming. I've been doing some of my streams directly to my website, like just directly with its own chat. And it's kind of with that. There's a lot of flexibility when they're on your website. There's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of it's actually kind of with branding and things. There's a lot of things you can do. So I've been just discovering. Working with the technology of things. One of the things I'm working on is trying to Jacob Collier, right?
Yeah.
So he did this tiny desk at home. This was 3 or 4 months ago, 5 months, I don't know. And it was basically just like 4 of him playing in a room at the same time. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna figure out how to, put multiple of me on this thing. And so I was able to accomplish that in a video. I at least I don't know if that's how he did it, but I was able to figure it out. But now I'm trying to figure out how to make it where it's like both recorded video and live, and you can't tell. I'm working on it. Yeah, I'm kind of doing this. I'm kind of working on this thing that hopefully soon I'm gonna like live stream from the jazz lounge. I'm just trying to work out the technical aspects of this crazy idea.
Okay, so it's partially pre-recorded, partially live
at the same time, but it's gotta like the way it's there's some different things you gotta work out to make sure that the syncing of it and all that stuff. And of course, like you have to have, consistent lighting. You can't if you record in the day and you have daylight coming through and then you do part of it at night, that doesn't work. So you have to have the same lighting, it's a thing, but it's fun to try to figure out.
Okay. Yeah, because you've got to, or is the idea that you're trying to give the appearance that it's all happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like, but my main vocal is live and, we're all live, but it's fun. Those type of things are fun to try to do and accomplish.
Yeah. Ooh,
or silly. Cool. I don't know. Fun or silly.
I feel like next week I'll see it. I'll see you streaming it on Facebook.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm getting close.
Yeah. I saw that you did a Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald tribute
yes.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
How was what was the technology behind that? Because like you said, it looked like you and Rebecca were singing live together. But was it pre-recorded or
no? That was all live. That was at Peter's studio.
Oh, okay. So you were all literally there.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
So yeah, it was. That's the beautiful thing about his studios. Everybody can be in their own space, and Peter is running audio. He's got somebody running the switcher. He's got the different camera set. Duncan's in a different shed that was been turned into a drum room. Justin is upstairs, and so it's kind of cool. It's very cool, and they've got it down to a T. But this is the 13th year that we've done that tribute, but first year that we streamed it, because we normally do it at Dizzy's every year. So we're like, we gotta figure out and do it. So we did it.
Wow. And how do you communicate as an ensemble like that?
So he put monitor to drums to see Duncan, so we can kind of with cues, but and then where I was, I can see piano in the other room, but it's a different thing. You kind of just have to sense it. Sometimes you speak out loud a little more, like you're coming to the end if you need to speak. Obviously when you're on a stage live, you don't always have to say a word. I mean, you do hand cues that everybody sees, or you turn around and look at everybody because everybody's right there. Mm-hmm. You can't turn around and look at people, and people aren't going to see your hand cues. So you have to either be verbal, or we just kind of feel it, or we give it to Duncan. It's like, Duncan, when you do this, we're going to know that we're at the end. So it just works. It's just using your ears and you listen, and it just kind of works out.
Interesting. That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, he seems like he's got a lot of really great things coming out of his place. Very cool. Yeah. And you did a celebration of love songs too was that with the Lambs Players?
Yeah. So I did actually two different. I did one with Lambs Players, and then one with Signet Theater. So
Was
two
it more the
different things.
Valentine specials?
Yeah, yeah. So it was like, and that's part of all these projects that I had, but basically a lot of this was like January me and having to get my videos done for the one and the other, and going past the deadline that they told me. Just trying to, because there's just a lot going on. I had videos for this jazz fest that I'm a part of, this virtual jazz fest, and so I had videos for that. So it's like all these different recording and video that I had to do, but yeah, that was the Lambs Players and Signet Theater.
Mm-hmm.
Did two different things.
Very cool. See, I'm telling you, you have a lot going on.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So in rewind pre-pandemic, if I was doing the Cabaret for Lambs, the love songs, we might have a rehearsal and then we have a performance. No big deal. That's normal. Okay. Rehearsal and each of us are doing like 2-3 songs. So it's not like, my portion of the rehearsal is like 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing a whole concert, if it's a band, we're rehearsing a couple hours, few hours, and then
Mm-hmm.
you do the performance. And now it's just like you're putting together videos and you're editing and you're doing all this stuff, and it takes more time.
Yeah.
It's just all of it takes more time. So when you're doing 3 or 4 of those, it's not just learn 2 songs. Okay, but learn a couple songs. It's like, no, I gotta like spend time, and you gotta set it up. You gotta set up with the lighting, make sure your lighting is good, make sure your camera, you're starting over. It's a whole thing that takes time. And for anybody who's been teaching and doing like virtual choirs or ensembles, I did I teach at the jazz camp every year with Derek Cannon and all these people for Francis Parker, and this past summer it was all virtual, so we had virtual ensembles. So it's like getting all the kids' stuff and then editing it, man, because you got to line up the timing. It's the whole deal that takes some time.
Yeah.
So it's part of the busy. I would say probably 40% of my busy right now. I don't know, it could be more or less, but it is that time that you spend to edit and put things together, which is fun. I'm not complaining, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's so true. Funny you mentioned that. I have 2 different recording projects that are due-ish right now, and I decided I'm gonna do them all on Sunday because that's the one day I can have a quiet house. But the whole office has to be set up. All the lighting has to be staged. All the recording equipment has to be dragged out. I'll have to do it's because it is video and recording at the same time. It has to be completed on a perfect take each time.
Yeah, or else you got to do it over. You got to start over.
I'll do each one many times. I think it's like 6 songs or something in one day. Then don't
forget, you got to go, like, depending on if you're recording. What are you recording on, like your phone or?
I'm recording on Logic.
On Logic,
on my laptop.
Yeah. Good. Okay. What about the video though?
I usually I'll take 2 or 3 of my devices and set them up and have at least 3 different,
So then you always have to make sure that you have plenty of space beforehand.
Yeah.
Plenty of space. If one of your devices, you're like, oh man, I don't have that, as much space as this device.
Yes.
You got to go and like delete, and it's a process. I mean, if you're spending hours trying to get everything right, at some point you're gonna have to go, okay, I need to stop and just delete these ones that aren't working, and whatever. Yeah, it's a whole, gosh.
It is. It's a whole crazy process. And then inevitably you forget to push record on one of the devices at
The perfect
least.
take, it was the perfect take too, right?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then all of the mixing and then the syncing of the video and
Yeah.
the audio together, all the things. But several of these songs I'm doing with uh, Mark Fulton, and he's
Yeah.
gonna, he's gonna mix everything. So I'm
Cool.
thinking I'll take all of the other things that have to be mixed from the project and include those and see if he
Yeah.
notices. maybe
Yeah.
maybe he'll just mix them all for me.
Well, and one of the things I do, so like all the projects that I had to do over the past month and a half, um, so some of them were like final products that I had to send in, and then like some they'll final mix the audio and the video, and I know what it takes. I try to make it as easy as possible for them on the other side.
Yeah.
So I'll clean my audio, I'll send them a dry vocal, but I want to make sure that what they get, if they're going to be the ones syncing the audio and video, I want to make sure I, do my claps and do all this stuff and make it easy for them so they can just drag it in, line it up, and hardly spend time. I don't, I know what it takes, and I know when they're working with multiple people, it's like, man, I want to make it as easy as possible for them, because I totally get it.
Yeah, it is a process, that is for sure. Oh my gosh. So, you were saying, we were talking about like new projects and stuff, and had you gotten into like any, new hobbies and everything. But when it comes to music, you said you're always kind of, exploring new music. But what's something that you've landed on recently that you're really excited about that you've discovered?
Well, it's not necessarily one thing, and it's discovering a new artist. It's a lot of it is listening to like old things, listening to certain artists that my kids are listening to, that I'm like, okay, checking them out, and so now, like, I'm thinking about how do I have some fun. One of the things, because going back to Jacob Collier, is, he's an easy person to talk about for hours. We can just transition and just really talk about him for, we'll get lost with time. But one of the things he's been doing is, collaborating with these pop artists and doing these cool things. I'm like, yeah, I want to, he can take the pop artists, and allow them to do their thing, but he does his thing underneath, embeds his stamp, and this thing comes out really unique and cool. And so, because finding ways to do more of that, not like him, but like my own way, just how do I, just fuse different things together, and trying to just see what works, and what, not necessarily trying to say this is the style it's going to be, but taking whatever my flavors, whether it's my jazz flavors or funk or whatever it is, and fuse it with something just cool or odd. And I've always liked that type of stuff. So I think I'm just trying to listen to new different things and trying to figure out, some cool ideas that I can use for myself, for different collaborations. One of the things I want to do is just have kind of do these like layered duets, where it's like, we perform live, but we have these layers underneath. It's just us two doing these different things, and just stuff like that. Um, that's kind of where I'm at. And then going back to old songs, and old meaning like in anything old. Old is like old is
Uptown Funk.
yeah, exactly. Old is not necessarily 50 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be. And just reimagining songs. I like to reimagine things. I like taking an old standard and putting like a new modern groove to it. Or vice versa, and just reshifting, reshaping, reimagining songs the way they were played, and that's always fun to do.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. Two of my favorite shows in the past have been. Do you remember a show? It was called, I think it was called Crossroads, and it
Yes.
may have been,
Yeah.
it may have been CMT that put it out,
Yeah.
where they'd have a major like country artist
Yep.
that would play with like a rock artist or pop
Yep.
artist or anything.
Yep.
And they would, they'd do a concert and they'd play each other's
Yep.
songs together. Love that. I always thought that was the coolest, concept. And you always hear, you always get to hear them put this different spin on it. And then
Yep.
also, is it Daryl's house or
Live at Daryl's house. I knew you were gonna say that. I was like, she's gonna say it. She's gonna say it. Yep.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
I love that.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the idea of, reimagining some old stuff. But one thing that popped into my head that I don't like is I noticed recently that James Ingram put together this album of his older, timeless hits,
Yeah.
and he calls them the new version.
Yeah.
And he doesn't change them very much. It's just him. I'm just thinking, several years down the road, just, re-singing them.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't happy about that at all. It's just
because it was the same.
it was, I don't know. I just think there are some things that don't need changing, especially if it's your own material. Like I'll forever love the way that he did them in the first place.
Yeah.
And maybe I'd rather hear him reimagine somebody else's song, but everything.
Maybe it depends on how they're done, because I like when you have a band, a rock band, and then you hear their stripped down acoustic versions of their songs. That's cool. I love when you can just strip everything away and just play the song and just hear a different thing. I know what you mean. It's almost like you're trying too hard to make it something different. It's like, well, yeah, don't try too hard. But then I really dug. I don't know if you ever heard Lionel Richie's country album.
Oh yeah,
with all of his songs, but done as country tunes, and they all are great because and it's him collaborating, each song collaborating with a different country artist or band, and it was I loved it because you never thought about it, but his songs kind of lend themselves to that. A lot of them
they had the country in them to begin with. Yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, this just works.
Exactly. Yeah, like Sail On.
Yeah.
When you hear that song, it's it's a country song.
Sail on down the line about half a mile or so, and
exactly.
I really want to know where you're going. Come on now. Come on. Come on. Come on. That's my
Let me clarify though about James Ingram. I love him.
And
the project is great. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. But it was just kind of like the same, maybe some different keyboard patches here and there. But I don't know. It didn't settle well with me. But
I understand.
No negativity towards James Ingram for sure. So yeah.
Sure.
Oh, Tim put a comment saying Leonard could be San Diego's postmodern jukebox. Yes, that would be very cool. Yeah, that's another great example of that for sure. Yeah.
Postmodern jukebox. They're good. I like them.
Oh man, there's such great talent out there.
Yeah.
And it's been cool. It's been cool to have a little bit of downtime and really be able to listen and pay attention to some things other than what you have to learn, for your own
Yeah, right.
project.
I know. It's like I don't have time. I got to learn
Mhm.
12 new tunes in a week and a half
Yeah.
while I'm doing all this other stuff. So
Yep, yep. I know. I think that has been a huge joy for me throughout all of this is while I always enjoy, learning music and everything, but just having the time to, you know, find new artists and and just re-listen to old stuff and more than ever, I'm playing music in the house in my office, while I'm out walking or
mhm.
whatever constantly, and that has just been you know, I don't know. I love it. It's been so fun to be
It's
able to do that.
yeah, it's you have time.
Yes.
Your brain has time
Yeah.
to to do this stuff. I think there are times in the past that our brain didn't have time. It's
Mhm.
like I have to focus on this thing because I'm teaching and then I got to go to this rehearsal, driving across town for this other rehearsal. Then I got a gig at night. Then the next day. So I really in the next 4 days I only have really about 2 hours of spare time to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
And meantime, those driving times, those times that you're in traffic are the times where you're learning those stuff because that's your practice time. It's like I'm driving from North County to, whatever, East County and during traffic time and I'm gonna be
That's
on the road
exactly
for a
right.
while. And so yeah, but now it's just like, we can just relax
And just
and
enjoy it.
enjoy a little more. Listen to other people. We couldn't. We never had time to go to a lot of our friends' gigs because we were working. Now I'm just like I'm catching people's streams. I'm just like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I'm listening to their streams. Like,
Yep.
yeah, it's awesome.
It's great. That's one of my favorite things. When I'm cooking dinner, I normally always cook dinner every night. And I love it when someone in town has a live stream going during that time. I can like hook it up to my Bluetooth speaker in the kitchen and just
Mhm.
I love that so much.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
to see what's happening. That's always really, really fun. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Leonard, it was so great to talk to you again. Thank you so much for doing this. I totally failed to copy and paste your links in the comments, but
Oh,
I'm going to
it's
do
all good.
that so everybody
It's
knows
all
where to go. But where do you want everyone to go to check you out?
good. Well, they can go. So I have obviously find me on Facebook, my Instagram at Lenju Music, Lenju Music. Um, I'm there's my website which I'm currently revamping and updating, but it's leonardpattonmusic.com.
Mhm.
And then also for future things at the Jazz Lounge, you can go to thejazzlounge.live. And so all the new things that will be happening will be there. And most often, sometimes I'll be streaming in multiple places, and then sometimes I'll be just streaming directly from the Jazz Lounge. But check it out, um, or just yeah. And if you I'm I like you know I like going to different restaurants and having coffee. So if I'm also open for collaborations with people, ideas, just sitting and talking music. I mean, I virtual is one thing, but hey, there's plenty of places where you can sit outside in the patio and just you know enjoy a cocktail or coffee or whatever and just so
That
if
sounds
people
beautiful.
want to connect in real, I'm totally all about that.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so great. Yep. Anyone who has the opportunity to share space with you is lucky. Very lucky. Thank you again so much. Thanks for
thanks,
everybody who
Tim.
joined us tonight. Thank you, Tim Moore. You're always so positive and supportive of everything that we do. Thank you. And definitely keep going with your cabaret. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to all the singers out there too, if you are looking for some community, need some support right now, Pandemic Proof Singer Summit #2 is coming up in May. So if you want to get on the waiting list for that, you can go to thesingersummit.com, get on the waiting list for that. There's no registration yet, but it is coming soon. But I guess we'll say goodnight for now. Thank you again. It was wonderful to see your face and talk with you, and we'll have to catch up again soon in person.
In person,
Coffee or cocktails.
And we'll have to sing together.
We will. We'll redo some James Ingram songs.
Here we go. Yeah. Just once, can we figure out?
All right. Good night, you. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.